Hi, and welcome back to the Bundesliga. Beard here to wrap up match day 30 and, more importantly, to give you a preview for the DFB-Pokal semifinals coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday. So before we get into the DFB-Pokal, I want to break down what the table looks like after match day 30, starting with the top half. Bayern München still in first place after picking up a very impressive 4-1 win over Bayer Leverkusen. They went down 1-0 early, but then stormed back 3 goals right before halftime and a fourth in the second half to give them the win. Star Kai Havertz was out for Bayer Leverkusen, which definitely didn't help them. In the second position, still Borussia Dortmund. They pick up a impressive 1-0 win over the very hot Hertha Berlin. Only 1 goal for them, and with Erling Haaland out, it will be interesting to see where they can find those goals from here moving forward. In third place, it's RB Leipzig doing what they do, and that is tie at home, this time against bottom feeders Paderborn. A 1-1 draw for Leipzig there. They stay in third place. In fourth place, Borussia Mönchengladbach. They lose on Friday in the early game to Freiburg, a game they definitely wish they would have picked up 3 points in. Fifth place, Bayer Leverkusen. As I mentioned, they had the tough job of taking on league leaders and record champions Bayern München, and they fell 1-4. In sixth place, the last UEFA Europa League spot, it is still VfL Wolfsburg after they pick up the 1-0 win over Werder Bremen. In seventh place, it is Hoffenheim as they pick up 1 point on the draw, 2-2 against Fortuna Düsseldorf. In the eighth spot, SC Freiburg, as I mentioned, they picked up a huge 3 points against Mönchengladbach, and they are now inching themselves closer to a Europa League spot. In ninth place, it is Hertha BSC Berlin. As I mentioned, the 1-0 loss to Dortmund makes it just that much tougher for them to try and get towards European competition, but they do still look like they are definitely going to stay in the Bundesliga. Moving over to the bottom half of the table, the number 10 side, and I put them in my coldest teams in the Bundesliga, FC Schalke. They do pick up a point this time, only 1-1 against a very struggling Erste FC Union Berlin, so definitely still disappointing for Schalke. Number 11, it is Eintracht Frankfurt, a struggling side here of late, and they struggled again, losing 0-2 to Mainz. In 12th place, FC Köln. They drew 1-1 with Augsburg, who is in 13th place. Both teams only picking up the 1 point, but they will take it as now Augsburg is still struggling to make sure they stay out of that relegation conversation. In 14th place, even on goals with Augsburg, but behind on goal differential, it is Erste FC Union Berlin. As I mentioned, they do pick up the 1 point against Schalke, and a 1 point that they will definitely take. In 15th place, Erste FSV Mainz. They pick up a huge 3 points with the 2-0 win over Frankfurt, and they stay 3 points ahead of that 16th playoff relegation spot. In 16th place, the playoff relegation spot, Fortuna Düsseldorf. They pick up the 1 point in the 2-2 draw against Hoffenheim, and with Mainz picking up the 3 points, that difference now goes from 1 point to 3. In 17th place, SV Werder Bremen. They had been playing well and picking up some points as of late, but they fell 1-0 against Wolfsburg. And at the bottom of the table, in the 18th spot, carrying the lantern, it is still SC Paderborn. They do pick up the 1 point against Leipzig as they drew away from home, but they still find themselves in a relegation spot. So now let's take a look ahead at the semifinals for the DFB-Pokal. On Tuesday, it will be an interesting matchup as 4th Division Saarbrücken takes on Bundesliga heavyweights Bayer Leverkusen. As I mentioned, Kai Havertz did sit out the game on Saturday against Bayern München. Whether or not he will be able to play is still up in the air. It has still been undecided. He has a muscular injury, so tough to see if he will be in the game or not. This is the first time that a 4th division side has ever made it to the semifinals of the DFB-Pokal. So definitely a bit of a Cinderella story there. But Leverkusen, I think, will be able to pull this one out, even if Kai Havertz is out of the game. And on Wednesday, in the other semifinal matchup, it is Bayern München taking on Eintracht Frankfurt from the Allianz Arena. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. Eintracht Frankfurt has really been a Pokal team over the last few years, winning it a few years ago as well, 2017-2018. That was their 5th title. And in that game, they did beat the team they're facing on Wednesday in Bayern München. Now, Bayern München are the defending champs, last year having knocked off RB Leipzig in the final. But this time, Eintracht Frankfurt is poised to make another run. Now, if I had to pick a team, I'm still going to pick Bayern München. They seem to be the hottest team in the Bundesliga, maybe the hottest team in all of football right now. now. Jurgen Klopp, in an interview with Sky Germany, did say that he thinks they are the favorites to win the Champions League if and when it does return for this season. So that's been a breakdown of match day 30, what the table looks like, and a look ahead at the DFB-Pokal semifinals. I will make another video breaking down those semifinal results and looking ahead to match day 30 this weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for other videos and have a good one.